One of the problems with the Oupes Mega 1 and trying to do an expansion battery hack is that your only options, at least till this point, are using their B2 cable and hacking the end off or hacking it in the middle and putting ring terminals on it and ignoring the communication wires, just taping them out of the way like I've done in the past, or using MC4 connectors, which I've also demonstrated can be done, but those are going to be bare, sitting there plugged in, maybe could come loose or come out, so I haven't been that thrilled with that. And the only other way I know of to do it is to open up the case and cut out the B2 connector and put an Anderson connector in and go that route. So that is something else you can do. And I want to give credit to Jarhead Smasher. Oh, I can't remember his whole channel name. I'll put it down in the description below or pop it up right here. But he's the one that I've seen do that. Seems to work really well, so that was pretty smart. Good job, but it does void your warranty on the power station, so that is something to bear in mind. But what if there's another option? Well, I'm here to tell you that there might be. One of my viewers, Jim, so thank you, Jim, reached out to me and he said, "Hey, old Jarhead, I am an engineer. That's what I did for my career, and I have a 3D printer, and I've been designing my own plug for the Oupes Mega 1. And I want to know if you'd like to take one and see if you can put it together and make it work." In fact, he said, "I want to make sure it's really easy to put together, that someone could just assemble this themselves and make it work." So we kind of discussed the options that we wanted. I suggested 6-gauge cable would be better, but we couldn't find MC4s for 6-gauge cable because it will use MC4s. And we settled on 8-gauge, especially because you can double them up. So here's what he sent me. And this is actually pretty cool, folks. There's two components. One is the plug that goes into the B2 port. And the other, which I already just figured out on my own, is the body of the plug. So after you put your wires in, then you can, I guess, glue this together and away you go. And he's designed this so that you can take MC4 connectors and plug them in. So if you take one of these little MC4 crimp style connectors and you take it and you plug it in right here, now you've got a connector that will hold it. And of course, then you could put the body over it, and now the wires are protected and it could be glued together so it's nice and solid. And these pins are going to fit right into the B2. So what we're going to do is I'm going to make up a couple cables and I'm going to assemble one of these. Now I'm not going to glue it together because I want to be able to just kind of assemble it and see how it fits and put everything together and try it out. So we're going to go ahead and do that and see if it works. Let's get to it. This is a What I'm Doing channel, as I like to say on Ambition Strikes, not a Do As I'm Doing channel. All right, there's one. All right, this is an important step that could result in a failure if you don't do it right, folks. Power station on, volts DC. So if we go to the top two on the wide ones, negative. So we've got negative is on the left on the top, positive on the right. Negative. Oh, that doesn't fit. A little modification to the adapter. Okay, that worked. There we go. Okay. Into there. All right, so now we've got this connector here. We're going to stick that on here. All right, now we'll take these two and separate them because we don't want to have them touch each other. So this is, I don't know if you can see that right now, but we've got 52.8 volts on these two wires. I just dropped my $150 fluke. Turn that off. Time to bring a battery in. set it up down here probably, run my cables up to these bus bars, turn this on, and see if we let the smoke out. Let me clear things out a little bit here and bring a battery in. Okay, folks, so what I've got here is I've got some bus bars. These are M8 bus bars that I have for another project, but I decided to use them here, and I just screwed them down to my bench. We've got the main positive cable coming from the Humsienk battery down below. That's my floor-mounted or wall-mounted Humsienk. You could do either with those. And then I've got my negative also connected down to the Humsienk. To charge up the Humsienk, I used my 18 amp 58.4 volt battery charger, so it is fully charged. We will check the voltage on that, but before we do, the next thing we've got is we've got our positive cable coming to our home printed B2 connector. And of course we've got our negative doing the same. And those are both attached to these bus bars. So when I turn this battery on and energize everything, that will give me a connection right here that I will plug in. So I'll plug it in first. But before we do, we're going to check some voltages. So we're going to check the voltage on the Oupes Mega 1, which I also fully charged. It's currently off, and I'm getting 1.9 volts. One of the things I noticed with the Oupes Mega 1 is that when it's turned on, the port is energized. When you turn it off, it takes a little while for that port to de-energize. So when it was fully charged, it was sitting at about 56 volts. My Humsienk is also sitting at about 56 volts, and we can double check that real quick. And I've got actually 55.7, so we should be very, very close in voltage. Now I'm going to de-energize the Humsienk. There we go. All right, Humsienk's de-energized, 0 volts. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and plug in my Oupes Mega 1. No smoke. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and energize the Humsienk, and we're going to see if we let any smoke out. All right, here we go, folks. It's already turned on here. Hit the breaker. Okay, no smoke. All right, ready? Turn on the Oupes. Oupes is on. Okay. Everything's on. See if I can turn this around so you can see it. You can see it's turned on. It's just kind of the way things are set up here. I guess I should have set it up the other way around so you can see it. But what I want to do now is turn on my inverter. So we'll turn AC on. Okay, that's running. No issues there. Now we're going to plug something into it. See how well it works. All right, so we will go ahead and plug in my little heater. Make sure it's turned off. We don't want to have it turned on just yet. I'm going to set it down here so it's kind of out of the way. Let's turn that guy on. Turned on. We're drawing power, okay? Now it should draw about 800 watts, somewhere around there once it's fully drawn. And the next thing we're going to do is find out how many amps we're drawing here. So 7 amps is what it's showing. We're currently pulling 360 watts. We're not drawing much power, so let's go ahead and hit the power on this thing and crank it up full blast. All right, here we go, folks. So now we are at over 600 watts. We're drawing over 13 now. Cranking up. We're over 16 amps. So there we go, 20 amps. Over 1,000 watts coming off the Humsienk itself, actually. So we are drawing a lot of power off the Humsienk, and I think that's because this guy here has a 1 kilowatt hour battery. That one has a 5 kilowatt hour battery, so that's what I would expect. We are up over 21 amps. We're using a little over half the power that the Oupes Mega 1 inverter can provide. It's 2,000 watts. We're at almost 1,200, 1,160. Now you could fuse it. I think you should. I did not here because this is just a demonstration video on what I'm doing. I'm not telling you to do this, so that's this is what I've done, folks. But this absolutely works, and so I want to thank Jim for sending me his homemade connector. It's definitely more solid. And especially after you build it, if you glued it together and you put 4 connectors in, that's going to make a difference too. If you went with 4 8-gauge wires, well, guess what, folks? That doubles that capacity essentially, right? I'm not an electrical engineer, but it seems to me if I could do, say, 45 amps on 1 pair of 8-gauge wires, well, then I could probably do twice that on 2. But this absolutely works. So, Jim, good job. It does work, folks. And it's a lot better way to hack your system than just using MC4s. Now, if Jim uploads the plans for this printed connector that he made with his 3D printer, I will put a link down below for that so you can go find it. There you have it, folks. Hey, thanks for watching, and if I helped you out, drop a comment down below. Let me know what you think, and if you want that link, drop a comment down below. Jim's going to see this. I'm sure he'll respond as well. I'm going to drop another video right over here for you to check out, and thanks to all my members. I really appreciate your support. Y'all have a great day. The old Jarhead out. Got to do more.